Hi, this is Medhat Al Masri. I'm the option head for web and mobile. In this short talk, I will try and convince you to join this option. The first question you may ask is, what is the relation between web and mobile? In fact, there is a huge relation between the two. Whenever a new web app is developed nowadays, it is understood that you must design it as a reactive application because, not surprisingly, most of your audience will probably view your web application on a mobile device. Otherwise, if you're developing a native mobile application on iOS or Android, most of the services that mobile apps rely on for maps, data, push notifications, etc., are web apps. The three main courses in the web and mobile option are Comp 3975, which is mostly about PHP, Comp 4977 is all about iOS, and Comp 4976 covers ASP.NET. This graph shows that the Android mobile operating system is the global leader. In Canada, iOS is bigger than Android, but Android is also significant. And the picture in the United States is very similar to Canada, where iOS is the largest mobile operating system, but it is followed by Android, which is not too far behind. This list represents the most popular software development languages currently. C# is number 4, PHP is number 6, and Swift is number 11. So this goes to show that even though C# is not number 1, but the other languages that are ahead of it are Python, Java, and JavaScript. At BCIT, you get a good idea about Java and JavaScript, but C# is also important and it is worth learning. PHP drives about 80% of sites around the world. PHP is used by some of the largest companies in the world, and these are WordPress, Yahoo, Facebook, Canva, Wikipedia, MailChimp, Baidu, Tumblr, and also Flickr. The two web development technologies that are covered in the web and mobile option are ASP.NET and PHP. If we go to this site here, it will give us a comparison of ASP.NET with other web technologies. And if you compare it with PHP, PHP is ahead of ASP.NET. Now let's compare it with other technologies. Let's see Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails is far behind ASP.NET. Let's go back and compare it with Node, and you can see that ASP.NET is ahead of Node by a huge margin. This shows us that ASP.NET is second to PHP at this time. Let me cover the contents of each of these three major courses in web and mobile. Comp 3975 is all about server-side scripting, and we cover PHP extensively. For databases, we use MySQL and SQLite. Docker is used because it is the leading technology today for deployment of web apps. Of course, we'll cover REST API, how to produce REST API and how to consume it. We cover React, JWT, and we also cover state, regular expressions, object-oriented programming with PHP, and the framework that is most used out there for PHP is a framework called Laravel, and it is an MVC framework. DevOps is all about continuous integration and continuous deployment, and that's also tied to using Microsoft Azure for our deployment destination. The other course that we cover in web and mobile is Comp 4977, and the title is iOS App Development for the iPhone and the iPad. You don't need to have a Mac in order to do this course because we use the Mac Lab, which is situated in SE12325. The IDE used for iOS development is Xcode. We spend about 2 weeks introducing students to the Swift programming language. We cover error handling, proper best practices for iOS application architecture. We cover databases and how to handle JSON objects. Firebase is also covered as a destination for saving data and for authentication. We also cover location services, networking, REST, localization, which means building an iOS application that can work in different languages like Korean, English, French, and so on and so forth. Also, push notifications. And finally, we learn about best practices to submit your application to the App Store. The third course covered in Web and Mobile is Comp 4976, which is all about Microsoft technologies. Now, Microsoft is the owner of a lot of technologies, and their web technology is ASP.NET, which uses C#. So in this course, we cover C#. We use Azure for web application deployment and services. Entity Framework is the object relational framework that is used to deal with database artifacts as if they are objects in your application. We cover ASP.NET MVC, which is the Model View Controller framework in ASP.NET. We also cover the alternative to that, which is Razor Pages. When developing a database application, you have the option of using the code first approach as opposed to the database first approach. And the identity framework is used for securing your web application. Web API is the technology used for producing and consuming APIs, and token authentication is used for authenticating users using APIs. Blazor is the technology used for building single-page applications with C# rather than JavaScript. Localization is for making sure that your web application can work with multiple languages like French and English and so on. gRPC is a remote procedure call technology. ML.NET is machine learning. So you can incorporate machine learning into your web applications. TDD means test-driven development, so that you can implement unit tests in your application. DevOps is all about building CI/CD supported applications in ASP.NET and other Microsoft technologies. SignalR is the WebSocket implementation in ASP.NET. Serverless functions is big nowadays because in this new architecture called microservices, you build functions that just do one thing and they run in the cloud. Finally, we also cover MAUI, which allows us to build mobile applications using C# that run in both iOS and Android platforms. At the end of the day, it's all about jobs. We all know Stack Overflow. By the way, it was developed using ASP.NET. This is a graph representing the hottest jobs in software development according to Stack Overflow statistics. In the web and mobile option, most of the top 6 software development skills are covered, and they are full stack web development, back-end development, front-end development, desktop or enterprise applications, mobile development, and DevOps specialists. Thank you, and I hope to see you in my option. Cheers.